There we go. All right, we're good. All right, so we've got here tonight for our masterclass specialty chef of prepared meals, Martin Bowden. For those who don't know of Marty, he owns Activate Foods at Erina, and deliver home fresh, prepared, and frozen meals. He was formerly a coach. He did start out and help us get us to where we are today at Human Fitness. So, Marty, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you, as well as your newly home Activate Foods?
Yeah. So, chef, first and foremost, I've always wanted to be a chef. So I've cooked for over 20 years now. Got sick of the chef lifestyle and moved into health and fitness realm and found that they both didn't really work together. So the hours of late nights trying to cook for restaurants and 5-6 days a week, 70 to 90 hours a week, just didn't work with the trying to be fit and healthy, because it kind of went against everything that I did. And also probably what I thought was a good understanding of healthy eating was probably furthest from the truth. So I got out of that. I remember my chef at the last hotel saying that if my fitness and my health is going to get in the way of my business, then I need to do something about it. So I did, and I left. I said thanks for the advice and left cooking and moved into fitness before we had our family, and ended up doing personal training and CrossFit, and with joining with you was also helped me inspire making that decision. And then made the transition from the unhealthy hospitality lifestyle to the healthy trainer lifestyle, which worked out perfectly. But then the biggest feedback that I got was people were more interested, and I found it was more important, the nutrition side and the healthy eating and fitness rather than the training, because anyone can train anyone, as we've learned a lot over the years, but not everyone knows how to put it all together. So food became a big part, which then led into people being interested with my meal prep that I was doing on my own, as basic as it could be sometimes and as complicated, which then led into what we do today, which is Activate Foods. So we, like I said, do healthy meals, which is just home cooked, healthy chef prepared meals, nothing fancy, just real ingredients. We make everything ourselves, and deliver to Central Coast, Newcastle, all of Sydney now. So that's kind of the transition that we got from where we are now, from where I was to where I am now, but they all work together. So I don't think without the chef background, obviously wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now, but without the health and fitness side of it, I definitely wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. And especially with a CrossFit background and the training and the importance of health and fitness with your training was also very important to do what we're doing now.
And just to clarify again what Marty was just saying, you can't pretty much, long and short, is saying in one part there, you can't out-train a bad diet. So if you are fueling your body with shit food, so to speak, you're going to perform, feel like, and look like shit. So it's what you put in your body, just like a car, put the right fuel in there, it goes for miles.
100%. So I've had numerous conversations with clients in personal training over the years who had notoriously bad diets, but would commit wholeheartedly to training and then be devastated at the lack of results. And my favorite and heartbreaking thing for them to hear was to say that you could basically pay me for 3 personal training sessions a week. We could sit down and chat, nothing but food, and get your nutrition intact, and you will get all the results that you want without the hard work. But they didn't believe it. But like you said, you can't do the vice versa. So you can't train 7 days a week and think you can eat whatever you want without it eventually catching up, either through health and illness or through weight and how you feel about yourself, basically.
100%. All right, so let's get into a couple of questions and go down that rabbit hole of simple nutrition, quality food, and easy meal prep rules, and trying to keep the cost as low as possible.
So for me, real food, that's, like I said, that's what we do, is our biggest thing. So people get complicated and say, what is real food? I am very plant and animal based. So if it's not a meat and a vegetable, basically, and doing something with herbs and spices, then it's not necessarily where I go. I do have a little bit of rice in my diet for the extra carbs for energy with the training. But outside of that, it's basically chicken, any red or white meat, varied throughout the week with some vegetables. Making it simple for yourself is just having a little bit of variety for what you do. So myself at the moment, apart from eating our meals, which is a little bit of a cheat for those who don't have that accessible for them, going back to when I was training, was chicken, broccoli, sweet potato. It was probably my go-to. I'm pretty sure Corey remembers me heating up chicken, broccoli, sweet potato probably 5-6 days a week for probably 2 years straight, pretty much. But that gives you your good fats, carbs, and proteins, which is what your body needs when you're training or even not training, and just making sure your body's got enough energy to do what you need to do throughout the day. Keeping it simple is just planning ahead. If you plan ahead and you get your meal prep done early, even with your dinners. Like I remember Megan and I, my wife, we used to sit down and write our weekly shopping list and what we were actually going to eat each night, right down to like Scotch fillet steak and broccoli and sweet potato on one night, chicken stir fry the next, and so on and so forth, and then just shop for it. Because once you've got it, you're holding yourself accountable for cooking it, basically.
Yeah, so that's all. Within saying that, money, what's a way to keep it? Like, I know you are good at that, and I'm pretty good at it. You can just eat kind of the same food day in, day out, and then just change up occasionally. But what's to give variety in someone's diet who goes, oh, yeah, it's all well and good, but 2-3 days and I'll be over it?
So again,
hard question, I know, but
it is. It's a lot of it's mental as well. So you got to realize why you're doing it. So if you are eating for health reasons and to fuel your body, it's going to get you out of the habit of looking for foods that aren't going to benefit that as well. So by being prepared, so you could even, I remember doing Sunday meal prep, and I'd only prepped Wednesday or Thursday, and then from then I'd do another little cook up to last me a couple of days. So variety, keeping it cheap, shop local. Buy what you can is from your local, either Harris Farm or your Coles supermarket. Buy what's on special as far as meats and vegetables are concerned, which sounds funny because typically people think that's what people are trying to get rid of to sell quickly. And when it comes to meat and vegetables, it's actually what's in season is on special, especially now when I go to the markets and I know what's in season and I know what's cheap. It's not cheap because they're trying to get rid of it. It's because it's in abundance in the area where you are. So shopping special, like shopping seasonal like that, indirectly helps. Planning ahead, sticking to flavors, like I know a lot of people are aren't plain eaters. So they're constantly looking for that sugar fix or the fat fix. So get adventurous with herbs and spices is probably the biggest thing. Because basically without that, you will quickly get sick of it. And even like trusting, like I say to people, I've probably said this to Carla before, like healthy food can still be interesting. So a Thai chicken stir fry with kaffir lime leaves and chili and garlic and ginger and a touch of soy sauce and a small portion of rice is still really, really good for you. But people associate a takeout meal with something like that as being unhealthy. And that's because what the takeout restaurants use to keep the prices down. But if you do it yourself, freeze it, keep it at home in the freezer, you're going to have all those things on hand as well. It's going to help out.
Yeah, 100%. Would you say that I'll be right in saying that just because, say, your fresh or your frozen veggies and fruit and stuff, they're actually quality compared to the fresh stuff, so to speak, on the shelf, because they're actually being exposed to everything for much longer than frozen vegetables, say, because they're being instantly snap frozen, so the quality is actually still there with all the nutrients and micronutrients. Whereas something out on the shelf, so to speak, like apples and stuff, because they've been exposed to so many pesticides and such and different things to spray them, keep them looking fresh as they can.
Yeah.
Actually as quality as a frozen one. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that is also convenience. Like the quality of Australian frozen vegetables is really high, and it is because, like you said, it's taken from the farm and processed in that way. So there's no like leeway with what you get in storage and distribution of fresh produce. A way around that is to shop, like I said, local. So if you look for Harris Farms, is actually really good, because I know I speak to the guys in area quite regularly. I get a couple of things if I fall short from my market trips myself. They have 3 trucks a day from the markets that come up to them and distribute to all of their stores across. So as far as the quality and freshness, that's a way to go. If you're someone who doesn't like frozen veggies, like I myself don't like it, but I know where to go to find the good quality fresh produce. But there's also people who don't particularly know where to go. So that's probably one of the best advices, to go to that. Farmers markets is the best. If you buy a week's worth of fruit and vegetables at the farmers market on a Sunday and you eat that for 7 days straight, it's still, like you said, Corey, fresher than what you'll get at Coles or Woolies.
Yeah.
So again, and before we started what we did, that was one of our favorite things to do, was to go to the Sunday farmers markets. Unfortunately, now Sunday's the biggest cooking day for me, so I can't do that anymore. But that would be, if I had the freedom, would be to go back to those farmers markets and get into that as well.
Awesome. Annie, now on kind of keeping it as related to your field as possible, relationship with food and sleep, like what, do you have any recommendations on or tips on what sort of food you should have before you go to sleep to help with your sleep? If you work.
Okay. So there's big advocate. I've got the Whoop like you've got, so you get some pretty instant data on your sleep and recovery. I've been really impressed with that. Biggest thing I notice, first off and foremost, is alcohol. So alcohol at night has an enormous impact on sleep quality, first off, which I guess we class as a food or drug. Then from there, the biggest results I've seen differences in, because I do swing in and out, is sugar as well. I see huge differences in sugar, be it from like 4 o'clock in the afternoon through to bedtime. So that plays a huge difference in sleep quality, resting heart rate, sleep rate variability, heart rate variability as well. And then if you are training a lot and you do struggle with sleep, I highly recommend eating earlier. Isn't always possible. I understand now it's probably more possible than ever, but before our current lockdown situation, people aren't getting home from the gym until 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it's a little bit impossible to say, oh, eat your dinner at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you've got 2 hours to digest it and then go. But that would be another thing, which is like, it's not always easy, but that makes a huge difference, is eating earlier. I mean, what's the time now? It's like 10 to 7. I ate dinner about 50 minutes ago now with the kids, which having kids helps as well. You eat earlier, can process the food before you need to go to sleep. So that makes a huge difference also in sleep and recovery. And then I think it gets complicated outside of when you go into what sorts of foods you're going to eat, because it depends on your training load. Are you doing CrossFit? Are you doing cardio? Are you doing majority weights as to how much carbs you have and when you have it? That's kind of above what I would go into for advice. But outside of that, sugars, definitely keeping them down, alcohol, keeping it down towards nighttime, and food timing as well. Probably the biggest tips that I would go.
Okay, awesome. What have you got, maybe something quick and simple, or a little bit of knowledge of something that people can make simply that's going to help with their immune system, get it all primed and prepped as we move into winter? And I guess we're not in winter yet, but what we're going through right now is everything's beneficial. Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Bone broth. It's highly underrated, I would say. People would say it's overrated. So immune, gut health, and it's like, if you think back to anyone and said, oh, what would mum give you when you were sick? It's kind of like that chicken soup style. But bone broth, slow cooks, seasonal vegetables as well. So if you're having a slow braised beef, which has got beef stock in it and has also got your herbs and spices, things like that are fantastic for your immune, especially when you're at home. I've been really enjoying cooking a lot more, having more time at home, believe it or not. People go, oh, I bet you cook for a living. But I've actually got more time in the afternoons to be a bit more creative and, I guess, adventurous with what I'm cooking. But yeah, slow cooks, seasonal vegetables. Immunity. I think immunity, I just think of green. You got to go green. Green's going to look after your gut health. It's going to look after lots of things.
Cool. And so a good thing that I know, that a rule of thumb I go by, like I try to eat where seasonal, like I'd say to my partner, birds in shop and go, they don't have it all, the price through the roof, it's out of season. Let's just go for what's in season. Then you're cycling through all your vegetables and fruits. Yeah, is that what you
Definitely.
recommend and
Yeah,
do?
definitely. And it comes back to the old hunt and gatherer days.
Yeah.
Like people only ate what was abundant and what was around. I've learned that more now going to the markets. I mean, I've been a chef for 20 years and it's only really become really clear probably in the last, say, 3-4 years of going down to the markets and picking directly and speaking to farmers and growers who actually, put the seeds in the ground and turn the food. So, but then we've also got, like, it's hard. A lot of stuff now, because we ship a lot of stuff from around the country, you can still get seasonal, like broccoli might be out of season in New South Wales, but it's beautiful in Tasmania and down in Melbourne as well. So it's also knowing where it comes from.
Yeah.
A bit harder when you're going to Coles and Woolies to know that, because there's also rubbish out there as well. But to keep it simple, if the price is up, means it's not in season. When it comes to fresh meat and produce, especially, if the price is up, it's not in season. I mean, to get yearling lamb out of season is very expensive because it had to be shipped from either another country or somewhere else. And same with especially like strawberries, and you'll notice it a lot with strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. They'll go from $1.50 a punnet or 3 for $5 up to like $5.50 each per punnet. So when it's that price, that's when it's been sitting in cold storage and been shipped from overseas to get into our country. Or it's been picked earlier and then they put gases and whatnot in refrigeration to hold it so it lasts longer as well.
That makes sense. And that's a nice little segue into talking about meat products. What's your, I guess, opinion on meat in the sense of grass-fed versus grain-fed, and I guess sourcing the best qualities of meat? I know I've talked about farmers market stuff, but more so for fresh fruit and veg, and I know they do some meat and stuff there, but I wanted to find out a little bit more of that specifically on meat.
So meat's interesting. So I used to being a chef, the taste and the texture of the end product was more important than anything else. So I was always raised that grain-fed Wagyu beef, which is force-fed, and it is beautiful, fatty, rich steaks that taste amazing. But since in the last probably 10 years of being more health-orientated, have learned that's furthest from what we want nutritionally to have. And it doesn't mean that a grass-fed steak isn't as tasty as the other way around. It's just how you look at it. So now grass-fed is probably the best. And even when you're going and organic, which is a lot harder to get and pricey, even as a business, we get asked a lot why we don't choose to go organic route with meat. And the answer is really simple. It's like, if people want a $10 meal or 10 for $10, I can't do that at organic. The jump would be literally doubling my price and still probably making less profit. So it'd be 10 meals for $200, and I'd be taking a cut on what we earn as well from that. It's just a huge difference. But if you're shopping for a family at home,
to cut in right there, what is it going organic, say, as such, because it's so hard to know how legitly organic it is it the health benefits that much better to pay that much more money?
My personal opinion is no. So I come from a farming family in New Zealand, and the last trip I was there, I chatted a lot to my uncle who's still dairy farming at the moment, and I said, well, what's the difference when you talk about solely organic meat and pasture raised? And he said that the biggest difference is a moral difference for them. So if they chose to go down the route of organic, it means they have to source different health benefits for their cattle. So if you were really sick and you trod on a nail and your foot was infected, you would take antibiotics because the risk is that you'd lose your foot. But if cattle on an organic farm were to fall susceptible to anything like that or any illness, they can't treat the animal with modern medical treatments that they do, veterinary treatments for it. So that's one aspect. And the other one is, it's like the health benefits, like it's very marginal between a pasture raised grass-fed beef and an organic. It comes down to like the certification levels is like, has the turf that the cattle are eating been used for farming, which has had chemicals on it before? And if it has, even though you're doing everything right, they still can't classify it as that. So it is hard.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I understand why people do it, the ethical reasons, and from a health standpoint, wanting to have it it's close to natural. But my personal opinion would be, if you can go local, like we got Yarramalong Farm, we know those guys out there really well. They do as close to as you can get to organic meat. It's grass-fed, pasture-raised. They don't use any grains in it. The only time the animals have any antibiotics or anything is if they're not well or need treatment for something. And the meat's fantastic. It's full of flavour. It's still got natural marbling in it. You can freeze it for 6 months and it still tastes better than anything you can buy at Coles and Woolies. So it's got the health benefits because the animal's eating what it should eat. Like, animals don't grow up eating grains. They naturally they eat grass. So yeah, down that side. So that's my personal opinion.
Awesome.
And yeah.
And like Murray was saying before and stuff, and just talking about buying local produce and stuff and the meat thing, I myself buy an eighth to a half a cow at once and stock my chest freezer, and it's quality grass-fed meat and it's cost effective. It saves me, works out to be cheaper buying that quality meat over buying stuff like just getting chops and stuff here and there and some steaks. You're getting it all bulk and you're buying it up front. So I guess that's like everyone knows that whole Costco sort of thing. Buy bulk and you're going to save it.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. And the quality too, like
to have a chest freezer, but I reckon that's something worthwhile in, is getting a sort of decent sized chest freezer. It'll save you a lot of money down the track.
Oh, definitely. And the running costs of a chest freezer aren't too bad. And on top of that, we bought our chest freezers secondhand when we were doing our meals from home when this first started. And I think I paid $100 and I had that thing for 2 years. So like, you don't have to commit to buying a brand new one to get out. If it's just meaning you got a little one to run by to keep some meat in and keep the cost down of meat, then yeah, the health benefits outweigh that anyway.
There you go. Said it from the man himself. Keep things cost effective, more simple than you believe. So before we wrap it up, mate, is there anything else you want to touch on and let the guys know about, specifically with regards to anything from meal prep to different qualities on food or saving costs?
No, I think when you're trying to meal prep and plan ahead, fresh is best eaten fresh. And if you're looking for anything to freeze, look for a lot of your like Italian dishes, your slow cooks, your braisers and things. Because I was always raised on mum saying like a bolognese or a lasagna or something like that, or a curry even, is going to taste better a couple of days later because the flavour's infused. And that goes for freezing and reheating, because I know a lot of people are scared of, I was too, about frozen meals. I just wouldn't eat it until we started doing them myself. That if you do it properly like that and do a bulk cook, and do like a stew on a weekend with a family and get the kids involved, you're going to have dinner throughout the week as well, or for the next couple of weeks. So it's just more planning ahead and staying involved with that.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Thanks so much for giving us your time tonight, Mark. Very knowledgeable. A lot of knowledge bombs in there, guys. I hope everyone took a lot away from that. Just finish with giving Activate Foods a bit of a plug. First of all, I'll say I highly advise and an advocate of Activate Foods. There's so many pre-prepared meals out there, but from ingredient quality to taste, simplicity as well as cost, I can't speak any higher of Activate Foods. It's as I said, it's all the produce is sourced locally, everything's quality, and as well, if you are someone that does count your macros and stuff, the macros are there for you, and they've got a variant style of macros that even do vegan for those vegans out there, but a variance in what I was getting to of your macros. Some a bit higher in fat, higher in carbs, higher in protein. So there's so many options there to suit any occasion. So I recommend jumping on to Activate Foods. Can do it at the moment, touch free, as they say. Pretty much order everything online and you'll receive it. You can, when we're back to normal, you can drop out and check out his awesome studio out there to set up kitchen at Aaron there. So just a little plug from you, Marty.
Oh yeah, that's it. So like I said, everything we make ourselves. So we're chefs, we're not manufacturers. So we do fall under manufacturing, but we make everything ourselves: stock, sauces, curry paste, the whole lot. I go to the markets every week in Sydney and handpick and speak to growers and suppliers. So I got sick of the quality I got from local suppliers up here. So I buy from farmers. So when I say local, I mean the distributors. So I go speak to the farmers and buy off their farms, and they tell me when to buy things and not to. So, and it shows with the food. The biggest feedback we get is it's close to a home cooked meal you can have without physically having to go and do it yourselves. So excellent. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
100%. Well, thanks, Marty. Appreciate it.